Good morning, everyone. Today is the year of Shiloh and Ramesh from Karis there. Schusi Yogi and Aleno. Sri Mashpia Shefet Hashposh Tovas for Gans Klai Yisrael. Today we'll learn the last Perek of Maseches Kesuvos. Today she is the Eli Nishmas, our Nachman Simcha Cohen, Yeshua Marcha B'Shefsel, Bracha Sarah B'Shmuel Lev, and B'Yamash Ben Yosef, Meila Neshamos Lahav Aliyah. And before Shlema for Yisrael Baruch Leah, Rachel Bas Pesach Zoda, Aaron Yitzchak Merisha, Chai Bas David Bela, for Shlema Besoch Sharchal Yisrael, and as a schus for Tzvi Noach Ben Rachel Rachel Leah. And special shout out to our good friends at the Imperial Advisory Group for their support of Seder Nashim. If you need help with your CFO stuff, reach out to them at www.imperialgrp.com. And here we go. Perek Yud Gimel. Well, this was a cool Masechta, and it's winding down today. Perek Yud Gimel, Mishnah Aleph. We're talking. This Perek is going to talk about several rulings that were issued by two of the greatest judges in Yerushalayim. Their names were Admon and Chanan ben Avishalom. Four of them, they're brought here because four of them relate to the primary topics of Kesuvos, but there are going to be others that have no shaykhs, but they're all lumped together. So here we go. Shnei Dayane Gezeros HaYerushalayim. There were two judges of decrees in Yerushalayim, Adnon Chanan ben Avishalom. Adnon and Chanan ben Avishalom. Simple enough. They were members of a special court that had the authority to issue decrees that imposed fines on ganavim. Hence, they were known as the judges of decrees. Chanan Omer Shnei Dvarim. Chanan issued two rulings that the Chachamim disputed. Amnon Omer Shiva. And Amnon issued 7 rulings that the Chachamim disputed. So here we go. Here's the first one. The first one of Chanan's. Overseas for Ishto Tovas Mazonos, and in his absence, his wife demands that the court, that the base to provide her with support from his property. Chanan Omer. So Chanan says, Tishava Besof, lo Tishava Bitchila. She swears only at the end, meaning after her husband's death, when she comes to collect the Kesuvos payment, and she does not have to swear at the beginning when demanding support during his lifetime. However, the sons of the Kohanim Gedolim disagreed with Chanan and said, Tishava b'tchila u'v'sof. She swears both at the beginning when seeking support during her lifetime, and also at the end when she collects her ksuba after his death. So I'm Rabbi Dosa ben Hercules Kidarehem. So Rabbi Dosa ben Hercules ruled in agreement with the opinion of the sons of the Kohanim. So now you have Amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, Yafa Amar Chanan. Chanan spoke well. Lo tishama ela b'sof. She swears only at the end when collecting the ksuba and not when collecting support. See Yochanan and Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai on one side, and you have the sons of the Kohanim Gedolim and Rabbi Dosa ben Hercules on the other side. Mishnah Beis. Mish halach l'Medina Siyam. If someone overseas and left his wife without support, Ba'amad echad ufarnis es ishto. One person arose and voluntarily supported his wife in his absence. Chanan Omer. Chanan says, Ibed es ma'osav. The one who provided support has lost his money. He cannot demand it back from the husband because the husband never asked him to lay out the money. The sons of the Kohanim Gedolim disagreed with Chanan and said, Yishava kama hotzi v'yito. He swears how much he spent and then collects that amount from the husband. According to the sons of the Kohen Gedolim, since the husband owed his wife support and the volunteer provided that support without ever saying that it was a gift, he can demand compensation from the husband. Amar Rabidosa ben Hyrcanus Kedivrei. Rabidosa ben Hyrcanus ruled in agreement with the opinions of the sons of the Kohen Gedolim. Amar Yochanan ben Zakkai. Yochanan ben Zakkai said, Yaf Amar Chanan. He that Chanan spoke well. Yiniach ma'osav al keren. He, the one who provides support, places money on the antlers of a deer, where it is bound to be lost, but he has no recourse if the husband refuses to pay him back. The, the muscle is that placing money on the antlers of a deer is a sure way to lose it because it is impossible to outrun a deer. Okay, those are the two from Chanan. Now we're going to turn to the rulings from Admon. Mishnah Gimel. Admon Omer Shiva. Admon issued seven rulings. The first is this one. If someone died and left sons who wish to collect the Yerusha and young daughters who wish to be supported from the father's estate, the Chachamim ruled, when the estate has many properties, more than enough to support both the sons and the daughters until the latter reach the stage of Bagrus, which is 12 and a half. Abanim Yarshim Varabanos Izonos. The sons inherit it all, and the daughters receive support from them. When the estate has too few properties to support all the children until the daughters reach maturity, Habanos Izonu. The daughters receive the full amount they need for the support until they mature, and the sons inherit whatever remains. V'abanim yachsru al psachim, and when they've used up, when they've used up all their food, and the sons have no choice but to go around begging at people's doors. So Amon disagreed with the first time in the second case, where the estate is small. Admon Omer, Admon says, "B'shvil shani zachar society." Esau can claim because I am a male, I lose. How can the sons, who generally have stronger rights than the daughters, have weaker rights in this case? Rather, the law is that when the estate has few properties, the sons and daughters receive equal support until nothing is left. Rabbi Gamliel said, "Roa ani as Deri Amon." I see the words of Amon as being correct. Mishnah Daled. So this next ruling is based on the following halacha. When one person claims that another owes him a certain amount of money or goods, and the defendant admits that he owes part of that amount, he must pay that part and take an oath denying that he owes the rest. That's called a modeb mixus, one who admits part of a claim. However, if the claim is for one type of property, meaning let's say wheat, and the defendant denies owing that type, admits to owing, let's say barley, he does not have to take an oath. So here we go. If one person claims that another owes him jugs of oil, so he says to him, "You owe me 10 jugs of oil," and the other denies that he owes him any oil, but admits to owing 10 empty jugs. Admon says, since he missed a part of the claim, namely the jugs, Yeshava, he must swear that he does not owe the oil. According to Admon, when someone claims that he's owed jugs of oil, the claim is not only for the oil, but also for the jugs. Therefore, the admission was for part of the claim, and an oath is required. It's considered to be a modeb b'mixus, according to Admon. The Chachamim say, "Ein zu hadad imin hatayna." The admission is not for the same type of goods as the claim, because the claim was demanding only the contents of the 10 jugs. It did not mean to claim the jugs themselves, but since the defendant did not admit to owing any part of the goods that were claimed, he does not have to take an oath. Rabbi said, "Roa ani is the Admon." I see the words of Admon as being correct, and therefore he should swear, he should take the oath. Mishnah Hey. Haposik mos lechas. No, if someone pledged money as dowry to his future son-in-law, and relying on that pledge, the son-in-law was ma'ares the kala. The pasha loas a regal. Then the father-in-law extended his foot to the son-in-law, meaning that he refused to pay. Teishev Atziyab and Rosha, the son-in-law may let the bride sit in her engaged status until she grows old and the hair of her head turns white. Meaning that until you receive the money he was promised, we do not force him either to marry her or to divorce her. So that's an interesting case. Mishnah and the Amon says, Yechola he should tomar. She can tell the chassan. If I had promised you the money myself and refused to pay, I would deserve to sit in my betrothed status until the hair on my head turns white or until I honor my promise. And now that my father was the one who made the promise for me, what can I do? Since it's not my fault that my father broke his promise, it's not fair of you to prevent me from getting married. Oh, Kanosh, oh, Pator. So either marry me without the money or release me with a get so I can marry someone else. Rabbi Gamliel says, I see the words of Amon is being correct. I mean, not that it needs my endorsement, but like, make a decision and move on with life. Don't let her sit there without any solution to the issue. So, Rabbi Gamliel liked words of Amon. I'm just trying to understand what the other Tanai were saying. Like, why would you leave the Kala in like the Aguna status? Like, she can't get married, she can't get divorced. What does that mean? Don't understand that. Mishnah Vav, the fourth ruling from Amon. However, Allah said that one person challenges the ownership of a field, claiming that the field was originally owned by him and was stolen and sold to the current occupant. The challenger is signed as a witness on the bill of sale of this field to the occupant, which indicates that the challenger himself recognized that the sale was legal. Admon Amar says Yachahu Shiyomar, the challenger's signature does not disprove his claim to the field, because he can argue Hasheni Noach Li Barishon Kasha Himena. I participated in the sale of the field because the second one, the buyer, who's the current occupant, is easy for me to sue. And the first one is tougher than him, meaning that I signed the bill of sale only to make it easier for me to reclaim the field in court. I never recognized the validity of the sale. The Chaim say, Ebaid as Sekuso, by signing the deed, he gave up his right to the field, since it is as if he admitted that he has no claim to it. In the next case, Admon agrees with the Chachamim. Asal is similar la'acher. If the occupant sold the neighboring field to someone else, and when identifying its borders in the bill of sale, he used the disputed field as a boundary mark for the other field, and the challenger signed as a witness on the bill of sale. So, Ibed as Chuso, the challenger has given up his right to the disputed field by signing the deed, which names the current occupant as the owner of the disputed field. The challenger has admitted that it indeed belongs to the occupant. In this case, even Ammon agrees that the challenger has lost his claim, because the argument that the second one is easier to sue does not apply here. Mishnah Zayin, someone went overseas, and when he was away, the path to his field was lost. Then, when he returned, the owner of the surrounding land refused to let him walk through it to reach his field. Amon says, he may walk to his field by way of the shortest route, since he certainly owns at least that much of the surrounding property. He may take it even against the owner's will. The Chachamim say, he cannot seize any path for himself. Rather, he must buy a path for himself from the owner for as much as 100 manas, if that is what the owner demands. Oh, or else he can fly, through the air to reach his field. Until he comes to some type of agreement with the owner of the surrounding field, he will not have any access to his land. Um, yeah, Mishnah Ches. Hamotzi start. This is number 6 of Ammon's rulings. Hamotzi start Chav al Chaveiro. If someone produced a loan document that says that he lent money to someone else and he not demands payment, and the other one, the borrower produces a bill of sale showing that the lender sold him a field after the debt was due. Amon says, the borrower is able to claim, if I were truly obligated to pay you, you should have collected your debt when you sold me the field. As soon as you received the money for the sale, you should have taken it as payment for the loan instead of going through with the sale. The Chachamim says, the lender was clever in that he sold him the land, because he is now able to use the field as collateral and seize it if the borrower defaults on his loan. Had he not sold the field, the borrower might have hidden away all of his money, immovable assets, and the lender would then have been unable to recover his loan. The lender therefore sold in the field, which cannot be hidden, to have a secure source from which to eventually collect the loan. Since the lender has a good reason for the sale, it does not dispute his claim. Mishnah Tes. The seventh and last of Admon's rulings deals with a case similar to that of what we just of the previous Mishnah. So, Shnayim showed Siyu Shtarchov Zalzeh. Two people produce loan documents against each other, meaning that Reuben presents a document that states that he lent money to Shimon, and in response, Shimon produces a document stating that he lent money to Reuben. Amon says that Shimon can argue to Reuben. If I were truly obligated to pay you, how could you borrow money from me afterward? Meaning, instead of borrowing money from me, you should have demanded payment of your loan, which was already due. Obviously, your note is either forced or paid, and I do not owe you anything. The Chachamim say, Reuven collects the loan recorded in his loan document, and Shimon collects the loan recorded in his loan document. The fact that Reuven borrowed money from Shimon fails to prove that Shimon did not owe money to Reuven at that time. And they're both equal loan documents. Mishnah Yud. This Mishnah is talking about halacha where a husband wants to move and live in a different place, but his wife wants to remain where they are. Shalosh Haratzos Nisuin. Eretz Yisrael is divided into 3 regions with respect to marriage: Yehuda, Be'er Yarden, Galil. Judea, which is the south; Transjordan, which is east of the Jordan River; and the Galil, which is the north. A husband may not force his wife to move with him from one region to another, meaning from a town in Judea to a town in the Galil, because travel between these regions was difficult and infrequent. She would not be able to go back and forth to see her family often. So, one cannot make his wife move from a small town in one region to a small town in another region, or from a large city in one region to a large city in another region. A wife can refuse to move to a different region, even if the type of community remains the same. She get the exact same type of community, but the reason she can refuse. However, if he wants to relocate within the same region, he can make his wife move from one town to another town, or from one city to another city. Let's say, for example, you have Muncie and you have Brooklyn and you have Lakewood. So to force your wife moves from Muncie to Brooklyn or from Brooklyn to Lakewood, that's a problem. But to go from, let's say, from one village in Muncie to another village in Muncie, or from one village in or whatever neighborhood in Brooklyn to another neighborhood in Brooklyn, all the villages down there, then that would be okay according to the Mishnah. Avalom here lekrach lom lekrach here, but not from a small town to a large city, or from a large city to a small town. That you can't do. Motzin, and you can't do that to just the wife, obviously. If she agrees to it, then great. Motzim in nave haral the nave yafa. More. Furthermore, even if the husband wants to relocate to the same type of community, being a town or city in the same region, he can make his wife move only from a bad place of residence to a better place. But not to downsize, not to go from a good place to a bad place. And Rishim Begalil says, Aflo minava ra. You cannot make her move even from a bad place of a residence to a good place. Because a good place of residence can test the person's health if he is not used to it. When someone moves to a good neighborhood, he begins to eat rich foods to which he was not previously accustomed and can consequently suffer digestive problems from that. Very interesting. And the last Mishnah for Mesechus Kesuvos, Mishnah Yud Aleph, Hakol, Ma'alil Eretz Yisrael. One can make all the members of his household go up to live in Eretz Yisrael. Ve'en Hakol Masiyan, one cannot make any of them leave Eretz Yisrael. Hakol Ma'alil Yerushalayim, one can make all the members of his household go up to Yerushalayim. Ve'en Hakol Masiyan, one cannot make any of them leave Yerushalayim even to go somewhere else in Eretz Yisrael. Echad Hanashim, Echad Hanashim. The same is true for both men and women. Either the father or mother of the family can force the rest of the family to move to Eretz Yisrael or to Yerushalayim. So, as we learned several times in this Masechta, the Ksuba payment is at least 200 zuz for a Basula and 100 zuz for Ba'ula. So, this Mishnah is clarifying which currency the Ksuba is paid if the marriage started in Eretz Yisrael and ended elsewhere, or vice versa. Nasa Isha Be'eretz Yisrael, V'garsha Be'eretz Yisrael. One married a woman in Eretz Yisrael and divorced her in Eretz Yisrael. Nasa Ilam Imalas Eretz Yisrael. Then obviously he pays with the money from Eretz Yisrael. Nasa Isha Be'eretz Yisrael, V'garsha Be'kaputkia. If one married a woman in Eretz Yisrael and divorced her in Kaputkia, it's known as Kaftor, because it was outside Eretz Yisrael, but it was nearby. Nourishing la malas Eretz Yisrael, he must pay her with the coins of Eretz Yisrael, which are less valuable than the ones of Kaputkia, because his Kesuva obligations took effect when he married her in Eretz Yisrael. Nasa Isha Kaputkia, the Gersha Eretz Yisrael. However, if he married a woman in Kaputkia and divorced her in Eretz Yisrael, Nourishing most Eretz Yisrael, he may still pay her with the less valuable coins of Eretz Yisrael, even though the marriage took place in Kaputkia. Since the Ksuba obligation is only Derabanan, the Chachamim were lenient and allowed him to pay with the less valuable currency of the two countries. And the last ruling, for Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Shimon ben Gamliel says, no, Kaputkia. If the marriage took place in Kaputkia, he must pay her with the more valuable coins of Kaputkia, because the Ksuba, because according to him, the Ksuba is the Raisa. And therefore it is like any other debt, and it's payable in the currency of the place where it was contracted, which in this case is Kaputkia. So he wrapped this up. Nasa Isha B'Kaputkia, V'Gersha B'Kaputkia. If one married a woman in Kaputkia who divorced her in Kaputkia, no Sinlam in Mas Kaputkia, he pays her with the coins of Kaputkia. Hajar Alech says Kesuvos, Mr. Hashem, tomorrow we will start in the Darden. Have a wonderful day and call Tuf.